So my name is Emma. I'm an occupational therapist working for the PCN, predominantly with the young people service, particularly around young people struggling with mental health, autism and ADHD. So, I mean, it's a really wide role, so it's quite difficult to define. And with that, I think comes a lot of creativity, because we don't have a structured pathway so much that we follow. We take it based on the needs of the young person. We do a goal setting with them, find out what they want to achieve and work based on that. So it's different for everyone who comes in. Usually it involves the initial goal setting, then some brief intervention work using some influences from DBT and sensory integration, and then we sort of review it and review the goals as we go along. Sometimes they change, sometimes they advance, they resolve as we go. Sometimes it's working with their families to support them, particularly around the young people with autism and ADHD, about having that sort of holistic whole family approach to create consistency in their environment if environmental adaptations need to be made to achieve that, not just in a session with me that's quick and not a long-term effect, but with their families as well, and at schools sometimes. My role supports GPs in the PCN because it's a low-tier intervention before CAMHS. I think sometimes there's a lot of confusion about where to refer young people to if they need extra support, and quite often they don't meet the criteria of needing extra support. So it allows GPs to refer to that early intervention so that they can have something, particularly with the younger ones, where they don't meet the criteria for other organisations. They can have sort of a brief one-to-one session with me, and sometimes it's just reassuring for the parents. I think it helps GPs as well because there's so much paperwork, and I take on a lot of that paperwork. So that's probably the thing that the GPs would say they appreciate the most. So I love working with the young people. I think it's really fun. It has the opportunity to be really creative. Everybody coming through the door is a completely different person, and I like that I'm not structured by set pathways, that I can adapt based on just the needs that sat right in front of me and the person. I love the team as well, working in the team with Ben, Sian and Ed, because we all work so closely together that it's really supportive, and if you've got a concern, if you're worried about a young person, then you've got that more holistic approach where you can reach out, and we work very closely together. So, for example, if I was concerned about a patient but I wasn't quite sure, Ben could also see them and then get a second opinion, and then we could meet and discuss it and decide collaboratively on what the appropriate next steps would be. So I think being an OT, you can offer quite a unique input within a PCN because you get the combination of health and social care, you combine the models. I very much use the biopsychosocial model every day, and I think being an OT and having that really holistic approach to the young people, considering the home environment, school environment, having them at the centre, looking at their strengths. It's a really strengths-based approach. And I always say to young people coming in to see me that it's about you. You know, I don't really care that much about what your mum's told me the problems are or what your school is saying the problems are. I want to know, as the person at the centre, what they want to achieve. And I think being an OT really reminds you to do that. And I think that's how you have the best outcome, because once that young person's happy and comfortable, then the things with home and school and other areas sort of correct themselves along the way, but without that having to be the focus. Yeah, so I think what makes an OT effective at supporting the young people with ASD and mental health issues is the creativity and sort of getting down on a level. So, I mean, if people look through the window, I sometimes see people like checking if the room's free when I'm in a session, and I'm lying on the floor rolling up in a rug with a young person, and they're probably looking at it thinking, absolutely madness. Is this what we're paying her for? But actually the results of that for the young people are so effective from the sensory integration point of view. So, for example, I also work with the parents then, so they see me doing that, and then I can explain the sort of more scientific approach behind it and why that's regulating for the young people. And it goes from them jumping around on the sofas at home with their parents yelling at them because they're damaging it, to actually the parents creating that environment where they're able to do that and able to have the needs met. And I think you have to have that real balance of knowledge and evidence-based practice with creativity and fun to make it work.